Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Boomer Buddies podcast, where we tell it like it was and is. Well, I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Appreciate the kind words that I've seen, but I'm back. And today I wanted to do something, but I'm changing gears. This morning I heard that the bass player from one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band from growing up, teenage into college, John Lodge, of the Moody Blues, has passed away unexpectedly at age 82. John Lodge was part of this group. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. He was prominent on the vocals on that, but the whole band was singing on that. But he really stuck out and had what you would call the lead on that. I really didn't appreciate him as much as Justin Hayward, but that's okay. In 1975, John Lodge and Justin Hayward put out an album with just those two called Blue Jays, and that changed so much for me. It was very much like a Moody Blues album. But the thing is, these two guys together, songwriting and performing real retrospective type music, deep, thought provoking, is what I really appreciate about the Blue Jays album. And I really dove into it, and it got me through some times back in the day. You know how music can do that, boomers, right? Well, it made me appreciate John Lodge so much from 1975 on. And to hear of his passing truly made me sad. But if you ever want to check out an album that you can just sit there with headphones on and just get into a mood, introspective mood, that album, Blue Jays by John Lodge and Justin Hayward, is the one to listen to. And ironically, a couple of days ago, I was in a text thread with a few of my closest buddies, and we were talking, and one of the buddies, Jeff Bajan, put up an album by his stereo, took a picture of it and said, "This is what I'm going to listen to tonight." And it was Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues. Now that album, that set me over the edge years and years ago. Like I said, through my teenage and my college years. I don't know what that was, but for him to pick that album that night, knowing that now that John Lodge is not with us. Well, rest in peace, John Lodge. And the rest of the show, I just want to talk about what it's like to realize as a boomer that you do have mortality. I still think like I'm 28 years old. I was out front of the house on a 16-foot ladder power washing that house. I had the suds applied, but now I had to get down from the ladder and switch the nozzle to the rinse nozzle. Well, I'm thinking, okay, I got 3 points of contact, at all times getting down the ladder. And I pride myself on good balance and, being able to move quickly. Well, I had my glasses on. As you can see, they are bifocals. And as I was coming down the ladder, they were full of water, just wet, and it impaired my vision. So I'm getting down to what I thought was the last rung. Well, boomers, I was another rung higher than I thought. I stepped down like I was stepping down on a firm sidewalk. Well, guess what? I was too high. I went backwards. My arms flung out. My elbow hit the top part of the edge of the front step of the house. My hip hit the lower step right on the edge, just like a cleaver, and my head hit the sidewalk. But I had really huge protective headphones on, and that helped my head. But what, embarrassingly, I'm laying there with the power washer just whirring away loudly, and I couldn't move. I took stock of everything. I could move my upper body, but my lower body, it hurt so bad I couldn't move my leg, my right leg. And I went, uh-oh, this is different than anything I've ever been through before. So I yelled out, and through the loud noise of the power washer, my wife was upstairs in the bedroom office up there working, and she heard me and she came out. What you think about in a situation like that? Self-preservation, right? Okay, I thought, okay, she's here. Now I'm going to try to move with her here. And it was so hard and so painful. I sat up, but the pain was so bad that I went back down. I rolled on my side, and I noticed I had stuff coming out of my elbow and all that. But I told her to go pack, change of clothes for me because I was drenched, and to call for an ambulance. And from that point on, everybody, I have to say, that came First of all, the first responder was from the fire department, which is a couple blocks away. That was Tom. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate what you did for me. Paramedic was wonderful. He kept me calm, wrote down some vital information, address, phone number on his latex glove. And then we had a policeman come, and he came and talked, and then the ambulance came. And together they slid underneath me a mat. Think of a flat rubber raft with handles on it. They got me on that. They got me into the ambulance, which they backed into the driveway. They're going to take me to the hospital. Boomers, this is hilarious. The back door opened up, and it was the first responder, paramedic, who came, opened the door, and he goes, "I got your power washer put away." He closed the door. A couple of seconds later, "I got your ladder put away." And then it opened one last time. He goes, "Your wife said you needed your lawn mowed and trimmed." And then he gave me a big smile. And he went, "Good luck." Thank you, Tom, for that. And I ended up getting a hip replacement 5 o'clock that night. This happened at about 11 o'clock. So everything happened pretty quickly. But anybody that's had any kind of a surgery like that, a hip replacement, knee replacement, now the PT comes in. You got to do the work. And I'm just happy to all the staff and everybody. And I know this is a Boomer Buddy podcast. I focus on music a lot. Just did that with John Lodge, the Moody Blues. But there's real life things that happen to you. And that happened to me. I've never had a broken bone in my life, even though I played sports most of my life. And I just am thankful that I survived it. Some people don't, but just be careful out there. And by the way, I'm banned for life from using ladders from my wife, my mother, my loved ones. The doctor highly suggested it. And it just ended up being a blessing experience in the end, which is kind of weird to say, but I want to thank everybody who reached out. Now, upcoming episodes, we're going to have Johnny Quest. I know that was a big deal for a lot of boomer boys, especially ones born in probably the early 50s, even mid 50s. And we're going to feature that in the coming weeks. And we're also going to do some things along the lines of the Patty Duke Show. I have so many requests, and I want to thank you all for those requests. And just keep them coming. Subscribe on YouTube and go ahead and comment. Send me some requests you have or anything that you want to share with me. I really appreciate it. I've got my boomer buddies that are regulars. We got Terry Walsh. We've got John Hayes. We got Ron Tunby. We have Quincy Stringham, Trevor J. Brown, and more. And if there's anything you want them to cover, just let us know. Another thing I want to do is I want to talk about mortality. Having this fall on the ladder and looking at things a little bit differently makes me realize that we are mortal. So make sure that you tell people that you love them. Be kind to people in this time of hot political debate and just down the middle hatred. Please stop it now. Time's too short. So let's go ahead, love each other. And like I heard somebody say on a report somewhere, just act like you do when you go down to the mailbox and you get your mail and there's your neighbor from across the street and just have a conversation. Check up on them. Say, "Hey, how you doing?" Even though you may know or don't care what their political views are, just put that aside and just be decent human beings. Can you do that? Just don't be so radical on both sides. Come together. Common sense is a beautiful thing. Follow your gut and don't be influenced and be so shallow as to not to hear other people and what they have to say. You may not agree to it, but agree to disagree. You're all so valuable out there. And let's do that. Whether you're in the United States or across the world, practice that. And let's get rid of this hatred that is poisoning the world. And let's get back to music. Let's get back to kindness. Let's get back to reading good books. Let's get back to watching good movies. If you don't like the movies that are being made now, go back. There's plenty out there. There's a lot to go back to and visit. And you can always come back to the present and do it with a smile on your face. Really appreciate you all. And what I want to say at the end here is I'm so happy to have this podcast and to share it with you. And I just hope that you enjoy Some of them. I know not every podcast that I put out is for you, but a lot of it is nostalgic and a lot of it is just getting together with good friends and talking. Yes, I go solo, and this is another solo one, but I'm looking forward to share with my boomer buddies. And if you want to be on the show, you're welcome to come on. You cannot like some of the songs I like, but I'll put your music on, and I'm sure I'll appreciate it. I like pretty much all music except I'm not a big fan of rap. But if you can tell me different, I won't have profanity on here or anything like that. But if there's hip hop or something and you can sway me on it, that's fine. But everything else goes. No problem. All right. I do want to do a quick shout out to my old high school counselor, Don Chillstrom, who passed away yesterday. I got to have a chat with him a week before he died. He was in hospice and just reminded me, meeting him back in junior high, what a great man, an example he was, a legend. He was the real deal, and he made a difference. So I'm going to challenge all of you out there. Put a smile on your face. Go out and make a difference in someone's life. You never know what they're going through. Kind word, a smile, some small gesture, a conversation. Just check up on somebody. Fritz, how you doing out there? Hope you're getting better from that hernia surgery. Go check up on somebody and make a difference, and it'll be a better world all the way around. I promise. For my Boomer Buddies podcast, I'm Rick Reed. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate all of you. Until next time, we'll see you around the block.